everyone. Welcome back to She's the Man podcast. I'm your host, Mahogany Lee. And today we're going to be interviewing an industry vet, Anthony Truss, who has been experienced over 20 years in the entertainment industry, in the realm, working for companies as big as Sony, BMG, and Mr. Anthony Truss. Welcome to She's the Man podcast.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you? Thank you so much
I'm
for
good.
joining us today. I
Not a
really
problem.
appreciate it.
Not a
All
problem.
right. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. How did you get started? Give me a little bit of a backstory.
I got started actually being an artist, believe it or
Okay.
not. And that was my first love. I found out when I was around 7 years old that I loved music. Grew up an only child. So that's all I had was music to play. So my love for it just grew. And I knew I always wanted to either be an artist or work behind the scenes. So I got an opportunity it was internship from going to a in-store where they have artists come in to sign autographs for new releases. And I begged for a job because I wanted to know the inside of how records work. So they took me up on it. I became an intern and I parlayed the internship into a mailroom job at BMG, which actually was the best job I had because I had an opportunity to touch every aspect of the music industry, sales, marketing, promotions, PR, etc. And then I became a marketing rep for BMG. And that's pretty much how I got my start.
Gotcha. Okay. So as we both know, this industry that you are working in, that I'm trying to get into, it's male dominated, right? So this podcast, we're trying to touch on women and just everything that we can about the industry and how women break through their successes, how they get in and stick to it. It's their career. So in this industry that you're in, what have you noticed about women versus men's successes, obstacles, etc.?
To be very honest, it's very difficult for women culturally. I think as a female, it's just the perception of a female is they're child bearers and their job is to take care of home. So breaking that barrier is very tough, especially in the entertainment industry, because it's more of a hustle, doggy dog, aggressive business. And unfortunately, I've seen a lot of women not able to get the respect they deserve, or they have to be twice as good as a man to get the same jobs. A lot of times men don't really embrace the female opinion. So it's been tough for females. I've seen it since I've began in the business in 1997.
Yeah, that's what's up. I mean,
Mhm.
it's true. And, like, what are some of the things that, like you've noticed it, but have you done anything or have you kind of just took the back seat, or how does that
Mhm.
fit into your life when you
Um,
see it?
well, personally, my philosophy is that God gave me as a man the ability to plant a seed, but the woman is the fertile ground.
Hmm.
So my job as a man is to always respect a woman and always give women choice. I was raised that way. So my first phase of the music industry is obviously I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know how it worked. I could visually see. Fortunately, in my department on distribution, there was a decent balance of females that worked
Okay.
in the area where I worked. So it wasn't a direct thing that I saw initially. But as you start to look at the higher ranks, the ones that were making it to executive positions,
Hmm.
the ones that are successfully managing artists, and the ones that was really climbing the rankings, those numbers started to wither away the higher the ladder went. Um, Probably about maybe, unfortunately, 10 years in is when the light bulb started coming on.
Hmm.
Um, I'll admit I did nothing, right? I was happy to have my job.
Right.
Over time, I think it was when you start hearing women complain about treatment,
Hmm.
you're hearing women complain about being stagnant in their positions. When I really started looking at it, you know, keeping it 100, you don't you don't know it till it's brought to you because you're not paying attention. You're on go.
Right.
Some of the things that I've done, Sony closed our local branch on the distribution side some years back. And my job now is I try to empower women to be in the business.
We
I
love
try to
that.
teach them how to maneuver. And I don't want to overly state a man's world, but the perception of it being a man's world, how to find your place in it and be able to understand the male psyche.
Mm-hmm.
So you're 2 steps ahead. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a black man in the industry, I know you gave us a little bit of backstory about how you got started. What are some of the challenges that you faced individually on your road to where you are now?
Whew. If you want me to keep it 100 on this show, I'll keep it 100.
Please do. Like this
um,
the time for it. Let's
so
go.
to finish my rise in it, I started out, as like I said, in the mailroom, transitioned over to a marketing rep. As a marketing rep, I covered the entire Southeast region. We merged with Sony in 2009. There we handled the sales, marketing, promotions for Sony, Epic, Columbia, J, Jive, RCA, So Def, Bad Boy, tons of other labels. Those are just the flagships, right? I've dealt with literally every genre of music, from pop with Britney Spears, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, which is some of the biggest one, Clint Black on the countryside. I go back to Whitney Houston, the Chris Browns, the Ushers, the TLC, you name it. I've pretty much worked with them, Beyonce, all of it. So during my journey, the one thing that I've noticed is, unfortunately, the music industry is a hustle. As an African American, unfortunately, a lot of times we're not teammates of one another. I got to get mine. So it operates in cliques. And it takes a while to find out if you're in the right clique, you know what I'm saying? Or if you're not in a clique at all, then the politics of it all. I've seen so much of the deterioration of our music that it's been difficult for me to see when we sit in our board meetings and we're talking about budgets. And we don't get big budgets for the urban product. And once I started understanding why, I got frustrated and I tried to do something about it by talking to my people. And it's very hard getting their ear because they're in hustle mode. Being very frank about it, most of the people who make it in the industry creatively, a lot of times now, come from lesser means. So their mindset is get mine and hustle. I'll take care of my little clique and that's it. Right. If you're on the outside of that circle, no matter how much experience you have, they look at you as, what do you want? What are you trying to get from me? So I found it very difficult from the time I started, even up to now, cracking the code of the openness and togetherness, for African-American community. It's always a competition. And I notice when I listen to every other genre of music, they celebrate each other. Country, pop, rock, you know what I'm saying? Watch TMZ, watch any platform. It's occasionally you'll hear something. For the most part, there it's together. With us, it's beef regularly. So, yeah.
Do you think anybody without a hustling mindset can make it? I mean, just
no.
No.
So there's two ways to make it, right? You got to have two elements. You got to have a business mind and you got to have hustle. You can have all the great ideas, but if you don't have no hustle in you, you can't achieve it. But if you hustle, at some point you got to transition into that to business to be able to sustain that. And that's where it's kind of difficult. The business knowledge, the business etiquette, understanding when it's time to expand your brand rather than regurgitating the same things over and over again, whether that's behavioral patterns or whether that's creatively in the studio. It's understanding that if I live, and I'm just going to be frank, we on a Frank show, if I live in the projects, that's not something to celebrate. That's something that everybody works hard to get out of.
Most
You don't
definitely.
ever look at yourself as smaller because you're there, because you have any and every opportunity and ability to grow and become successful as anyone else if you put the hustle or
Mm,
the effort into it. But um, once you're not there anymore, you don't have to brag about how great it is being there. And then you can go back and help those people that are there find opportunities, new opportunities to do better for themselves. So I'm all about helping people and taking the knowledge that I've learned from life lessons, from the music industry, um, and trying to pass that on to the next generation. People ask me a lot, why am I still in the music industry? Why do I do it? It's not about the music for me anymore. Um, I enjoy music, but I could care less about that part of it. What I care about is if I can help one person live his dream, I've done my job. Because not only did I help him live his dream, but if he's successful with his dream, he'll have the finances and the resources to put his kids in private school, to retire his parents, to put him in a new house, to build wealth for generations to come, open up stores. We could have the next Walmart.
mm,
It starts with this young kid with a dream and a God-given talent, and
right.
helping him or her mature that talent. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, no,
I
it
didn't want to
does.
overdo it. I didn't want to
Oh
overdo
no, you're all
it.
good. So, next question: at the rate that, or the rates that media is going at the moment, like, where do you see people of color thriving in most? Like each sector, like you see more in management, more in video,
Mhm.
film, audio. Like, where do you see that? I could say in like the next 4 years.
I would say film. I think
Mm,
music is like an intro,
okay.
but a lot of them are transitioning over into the film market. It's a little
Mm,
bit more stern and tight, um, but music is like a gateway into the film area. So I definitely see that as um, more and more African Americans are going to be on the big screen, but on the business side, production. You know what I'm
mm-hmm.
saying? Writing
Yeah.
major films. After Black Panther, it's been an onslaught of urban films.
True.
You know, so I think that's where it's going. Um, Plus, there's more finances in it, so it's a you don't have to hustle for the money as
Mm,
much. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Well, even just wrapping up a little bit, I know for me personally, I want to ask you this question for me and for our listeners. And what do you advise for women or young women going into this industry, that not even just industry, but management? Like, you deal with artist management, you deal with working with individuals. What would you advise somebody who's taking that first step into going into the industry? Like, just any advice that you have.
Um, Number one, know what you're getting into.
Mm,
You can go to school and learn the mechanics of anything, but in the real world, you have to be ready for it. You have to be completely focused and get in your head game. One of the major things that I suggest to women is women tend to operate with their heart first. They feel their way through. Men, they're up here all the time. And a lot of times they get caught because they believe that this person has their best interests in heart.
mm,
And you then until they find out that they do not. You have to understand in this business that you're going to be a target in many ways, whether it's a physical target, meaning in a sexual way, whether you're just looked over, you're a target because you're a female, nobody's taking you serious. You have to numb yourself to the noise,
mm,
believe in what you're doing, focus on doing that job, stay persistent and consistent in doing it, ask questions, and build an effective team. You have to
mm,
find the right people to become successful in this business. A lot of people will waste your time.
mm,
So that's the biggest advice that I would say. And don't stop. And don't become what um, somebody thinks you have to be to successful. Stay loyal to you. Stay loyal to your morals. Never sacrifice your morals or your ethics, and understand quitting is not an option. It might take me twice as long if I'm racing a sprinter to get to the finish line because he's twice as fast. But as long as I keep running, I'll get there.
Yeah.
Keep running.
I love that. And I
You
think
know.
I think it's big too. A lot of people, a lot of women I can see, they might get that little bump in the road and
Mm-hmm.
turn around. They don't want to go
Right.
over it. They don't want to continue because they know what's coming or they know what can come or
Mm-hmm.
think to come. And it's like,
Right.
geez, it's tough out here. But I really do appreciate you for joining us today, giving us your input, getting to know you a little bit. We're gonna go ahead and put your social media handles and things on our show so people can know who you are, what are you working on in the near future and all that good stuff. So thank you again. Thank you guys for joining She's a Man podcast. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
Well, absolutely. And let me say this before we close out.
Yes, sir.
For any women that's out there, I'm a fan and a huge advocate for females. Feel free to reach out to me on my IG with any questions that you have. I definitely want to help empower women. I want to know that I played my role and I'm helping it become a lot easier for you. Right. So feel free to hit me up.
All right. You guys hear that? Young women questions, hit up Ant. He's there for you.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right. Thanks. You have a nice one.
All right. You too.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.